Have you ever looked into a man's eyes and felt something shift? Not in what he said, but in how he looked at you. That quiet pause, that stillness. That's the moment love begins for him. Not loud, not dramatic, but deeply real. Because when a man truly falls in love, it doesn't just touch his heart, it rewires it. He starts to feel things he never knew he was capable of feeling. And if you've ever wondered what goes on inside him in those moments, this will show you the truth. See, most men were taught to control, to stay logical, to hide what they feel. But when a man is truly in love, logic fades. He begins to feel everything. Your happiness starts to affect his mood. Your pain weighs on him more than he admits. Suddenly, his peace depends on knowing you're okay. He may not say it right away, but you'll notice it in the small ways. The way he listens when you talk about your day, how he remembers what matters to you, how he adjusts his world so you fit in it without asking for space. That's love in its quiet form, deliberate, protective, and real. The truth is, when a man loves you, his ego softens. He doesn't just want to impress you anymore. He wants to protect you, not because he thinks you're weak, but because he's finally found something he doesn't want to lose. If you've ever wondered how to recognize when a man truly loves you, don't just listen to what he says. Watch what he does when you're not looking. Notice how he shows up, how he stays even when things get messy. That's where the truth is. When a man is in love, his entire emotional system changes. He starts making decisions with you in mind. He imagines a future and quietly fits you into it. He begins to measure his success, not just by what he achieves, but by how happy you are beside him. And yes, he might pull back at times, not because he's losing interest, but because love terrifies him. It exposes every part of him he's tried to protect. But when he feels safe with you, when he senses that his vulnerability won't be judged, that's when his love becomes devotion. In the end, love transforms a man not by making him weaker, but by awakening his strength. It's not loud, not dramatic. It's the quiet power of someone who has found a reason to grow, to protect, and to believe again. So, when a man truly loves you, he doesn't just feel it, he becomes it. Have you ever wondered what truly happens inside a man's heart when he deeply falls in love with you? Not what he says, not what he shows in those fleeting moments of affection, but what he actually feels when no one is watching, when his guard drops and his emotions come alive without warning. That's where the real truth lives. That's where his love quietly starts to reshape his entire world. For years, many were told that men don't feel as deeply, that they are rational beings who analyze but never drown in emotion, that they remain untouched by the wild, consuming nature of real love. But that belief couldn't be further from reality, because when a man truly loves, something powerful awakens within him. It's not loud, it's not always visible, but it's deep, undeniable, and life-changing. And once you learn to recognize it, you begin to see why his love can be one of the most transformative forces you'll ever encounter. For a man, love often begins as a soft whisper, a gentle pull, a quiet curiosity, a feeling he can't quite define. But as his heart begins to open, it grows into something much larger, something that reaches into every corner of his being. He becomes more alert, more alive, more open. Suddenly, this isn't just about attraction or company. It becomes personal. You become personal. Your smile is no longer a moment he simply notices. It's the light that brightens his entire day. Your voice stops being just sound. It becomes a melody he waits for. Your pain no longer goes unseen. It becomes a storm he wants to protect you from. Here's what most people never tell you. Men often fall in love silently first. Before the bold words, before the big gestures, before he ever says, "I love you," he already feels it deeply. It shakes him. Sometimes it even scares him, because real love demands something men rarely give. Emotional exposure, the risk of being truly seen, with all his fears, hopes, and insecurities laid bare. In a world that tells men to stay strong, love makes him willingly fragile. And that's what makes it so meaningful. When love captures a man, it doesn't just change how he thinks, it changes how he feels about himself. He becomes aware of his flaws, his habits, his path in life. Love pushes him to grow, to aim higher, to become a version of himself he's proud to show you. Deep down, he hopes you'll notice his effort. He hopes you'll feel safe with him, trust him, and lean on him. That desire sits at the very center of his heart, not just to be wanted, not just to be liked, but to be chosen. And so quietly, he begins choosing you first, in his thoughts, in his decisions, in his plans for tomorrow. Even if he hasn't said those words aloud yet, his heart already has. But as his love grows stronger, so does his fear. The fear of disappointing you, the fear of not being enough, the fear of giving his heart only to have it broken. He may never say it, but he feels it every day. It's why he becomes protective. It's why he sometimes pulls away when things feel too deep. It's not because he doesn't care, it's because he cares so much. Sometimes he steps back, not out of disinterest, but because his feelings are too powerful and he's afraid of losing control. While he wrestles with those emotions inside, he's watching you closely, listening not just to your words, but to your silences, trying to sense if your heart is a safe place for his. That's why he notices what others miss, the way your eyes soften when you're happy, the tone of your voice when you're stressed, the things that make you laugh, the dreams you share, and even the pain you try to hide behind strength. He sees it all, he feels it all, and when he loves you, he begins to make small, unseen changes in his life just to bring you comfort, to make you smile, to ease your worries, to lift your mood. He won't always announce it or ask for thanks, but inside he's hoping you'll feel it, not with your eyes, but with your heart. So why does understanding this hidden world of a man in love matter so much? Because it gives you something priceless, the ability to connect with him on a level most people never reach. It allows you to love him not just for what he shows, but for what he feels. It gives you the power to respond in ways that deepen his devotion, calm his fears, and awaken the strongest, purest kind of masculine love. The kind that's loyal, devoted, and lasting. When you can see his love clearly, you can receive it fully and reflect it back in a way that makes him feel seen, respected, and emotionally secure. Stay with this message till the end, because as these truths unfold, you'll begin to see the hidden signs, the quiet sacrifices, and the deep emotional transformations that take place inside a man when he falls courageously in love with you. There comes a point in a man's life when love stops being just a feeling. It becomes a calm storm brewing inside him. He might sit beside you looking steady and composed, but inside there's a strong rush of emotion he struggles to control. Love changes everything in his inner world. Suddenly he becomes more alert to anything that could disturb your peace. His body may stay still, his voice steady, but his whole attention is fixed on your well-being. This urge to protect you, to keep you safe from harm or sadness, isn't something he plans. It happens naturally. Deep inside his mind, one thought keeps repeating, "I just want her to be okay." That's what love sounds like in a man's soul. You might notice how he watches you in crowded places, how he gently guides you through doors, how he checks on you even when you haven't asked. Not because you told him to, but because he can't help wondering if you're fine. These are not small gestures. They are love speaking through his actions. Even when he doesn't say the words, every move he makes quietly expresses care, concern, and silent devotion. Love makes him take responsibility for you in ways he's never felt for anyone else. You start to matter more than his comfort, more than his convenience, more than his image. Loving you becomes his biggest focus, sometimes without him even realizing how much power you have over his heart. This is also when he begins to feel a kind of anxiety he never talks about. Not the usual kind that comes from work or daily stress, but the deep kind that shows up when something precious feels at risk. His fear is simple: losing you. That fear follows him even through happy moments, because the more he loves you, the scarier the thought of losing that love becomes. He starts thinking ahead, imagining every possibility, becoming cautious about anything that might hurt the bond you share. He may even overthink his words or actions, not out of insecurity, but because you've become his emotional home, and the idea of being outside that home shakes him deeply. Love makes him braver, but it also makes him more open to pain. To truly understand him, you need to see that this vulnerability isn't weakness. The world tells him to be tough, to hide emotions, to stay unshaken. But love doesn't let him do that. Love makes him feel everything, completely, deeply, and without a shield. And that's the beauty of it, because when a man loves like that, it means you've reached a place in his heart that no one else ever has. With you, he feels emotions so powerful, they almost frighten him. Affection so strong, it melts his defenses. An attachment so deep, it feels as if destiny has tied him to you. He might not express this through big words, but his eyes will always give him away. There's a certain softness in his gaze when he looks at you, an unspoken prayer that you'll stay, that you'll see how much effort he's putting into deserving your heart. Then something inside him shifts. He becomes protective, not just of your safety, but of your heart. He listens more carefully now. He wants to understand your dreams, your fears, your wounds. He craves to know what brings you peace so he can create more of it. Love awakens in him a powerful urge to give meaning to your life, to offer stability, comfort, and a haven from everything that hurts you. He's no longer just present, he's truly invested. Every little detail about you begins to matter. The things others overlook, he begins to see clearly. When you're tired, he notices your silence. When you're happy, he memorizes your laughter. It becomes his quiet mission to protect not just the woman you are today, but the woman you're still becoming. Because loving you turns his future into something precious and fragile, something he's now willing to fight for with everything inside him. Yet one of his biggest struggles remains: how to express this love without feeling weak. This inner battle between emotion and masculinity keeps him silent at times, holding back when his heart is overflowing. If he seems distant, don't assume he's lost interest. Often he feels so much that words simply fail him. He's learning to love from strength, to express emotion without losing his sense of self. Love teaches him balance. It teaches him patience. It teaches him that true strength isn't about hiding emotion, but owning it fearlessly before the one person who matters most. When a man reaches this stage, something beautiful begins to unfold. He starts to grow. Not because you demand it, but because love itself calls him higher. He notices his weaknesses and starts to work on them. He becomes more disciplined, more focused, and more determined to achieve. Your presence becomes the fire that fuels his ambition. He sees your faith in him, even when he doubts himself, and it gives him new life. Men rarely admit it, but being loved by a woman they truly respect gives them courage they can't find anywhere else. You become the reason he doesn't quit, the reason he keeps pushing when life feels heavy. Your love becomes both his safest place and his greatest motivation. That's what it means when a man's heart belongs to you. He's protective because you're precious. He's anxious because you're irreplaceable. He's vulnerable because you've touched a part of him he never knew existed. And he's changing because loving you is shaping him into a better man. Every emotion he carries is proof of how deeply he feels, how seriously he loves, and how much he hopes you'll recognize his effort. Because once he gives his heart to you, it's no longer a question of whether he loves, it's about whether you feel loved enough. When love settles deep in a man's heart, it wakes something primal, the urge to build. It's not only about imagining a future with you, but creating a life that supports both your dreams. It starts as a quiet thought late at night, as he lies awake staring at the ceiling, imagining your hand in his and a life built together. Those thoughts turn into plans, and those plans push him toward action. He begins to work harder, think clearer, and manage his life with new purpose, not because ambition suddenly appeared out of nowhere, but because he now has a reason bigger than himself: love. You become his North Star, guiding him toward places he once thought were unreachable. One by one, his priorities shift. Pointless distractions lose their charm. Reckless habits begin to feel childish. Temporary pleasures no longer satisfy him. What he wants now is permanence, something real, something worth giving his whole heart to. You'll notice the quiet changes, the way he reorganizes his schedule, the way he chooses his words more thoughtfully, the way he silently seeks stability. Every action he takes is fueled by one goal: to be a man you can truly respect. To a man in love, respect isn't just nice, it's necessary. It tells him his efforts count, that his love is seen, that what he's building actually matters. Nothing strengthens a man more than feeling respected by the woman he loves. Your faith in him becomes a force that pulls out strength he never knew he had. What many don't realize is that love makes a man emotionally loyal long before he ever speaks of commitment. His heart begins to attach to you in ways he can't undo easily. He talks about you when you're not there. He avoids temptations, not because someone might find out, but because he doesn't want to risk losing the feeling he has with you. That kind of loyalty is rare, and when it appears, it comes straight from the heart of a man who feels deeply. Even if he struggles to say it out loud, emotionally, he's already devoted. He might appear calm, even cautious, but inside, he's not exploring anymore. He's choosing you again and again, silently but powerfully. That emotional loyalty makes him sacrifice small things he'll never mention. He gives up sleep just to hear your voice after a long day. He spends money not on himself, but on things that make your life smoother. He sits with you through your sadness, even if he can't fix it, because he wants you to feel that he's there. These aren't dramatic gestures, they're quiet, consistent, sacred acts of love. They happen when no one's watching, and that's what makes them special, because in those unseen sacrifices, his real love story is being written. Not through what he says, but through what he gives up just to see you at peace, thriving, and supported. Love also teaches him patience. He learns to wait for you, not just physically, but emotionally. He becomes softer when you need time, calmer when you're stressed, and steady when you feel lost. This patience is not weakness, it's strength under control. It's his way of showing you that your heart is safe with him, that he'll never rush your emotions or punish your vulnerability. Instead, he's willing to match your pace, hold you steady, and stand by your side through every uncertain moment. This patience doesn't happen by accident. It's a choice born from one truth he feels deeply. Losing you would hurt far more than waiting for you. But even as he becomes patient and loyal, there's something he still needs from you. Not perfection, not performance, not beauty. What he truly craves is emotional safety. He wants to know that he can be imperfect, that he can make mistakes, and you won't shame him or love him less. He needs to feel that his heart is safe with you, the same way he's keeping yours safe with him. He wants to feel that his secrets are safe with you, that his fears will never be turned into weapons during angry moments, and that when he finally reaches his breaking point after trying so hard to stay strong in every part of his life, your arms will be the place where he can fall apart without shame. When a man truly loves, he wants to feel secure enough to show you the sides of himself that no one else ever sees. He needs to believe that your love isn't just a prize he earns for being strong, but also a safe place for his weaknesses. As his love deepens, he begins to quietly test this safety. He may share small insecurities, talk about an old painful memory, or admit fears he once kept buried. These are not random moments, they are small windows into his soul. When you meet them with understanding instead of judgment, with compassion instead of criticism, you build a bond that feels nearly unbreakable. Because now, he doesn't just love you, he trusts you with his heart. And when a man gives you that kind of trust, he becomes loyal in ways few can imagine, emotionally generous, and always ready to fight for your love. That is the true power of being loved by a man who is emotionally awake. It's not loud or dramatic, not fast or careless. It's patient, calm, and quietly strong. With every passing day, his feelings grow deeper, his devotion stronger, and his desire to protect, provide, and create a shared future becomes his life's purpose. He doesn't love you for attention or validation. He loves you because you've become the one thing in this world worth giving everything for. Love pushes a man into a silent struggle, a war between his pride and his emotions. Society has long told him that being strong means showing no weakness, keeping feelings locked away like a fortress no one can touch. But when love enters, that fortress begins to break apart. He feels torn between holding on to pride and opening his heart. This is when love demands real courage, not the kind shown in battles or challenges, but the courage to be vulnerable, to drop his guard, and to risk everything by being completely real. Behind his calm strength lives a man facing his fears. He worries that showing his emotions might make him look weak or less manly. He fears that caring too much might cost him the very love he cherishes. Yet, love itself pushes him to face these fears. The man who hides his tears alone is the same man whose heart beats faster when he hears your name or sees your smile. Love pulls him toward you like a quiet force, even as his ego tells him to stay distant. It's in this struggle that his love becomes strongest, because choosing to be vulnerable takes real bravery. He fights his own doubts, breaks through his defenses, and lets you see the parts of him he once kept hidden. When he shows you his fears, his hopes, and his pain, he's inviting you into the deepest parts of his soul, not just to share joy, but to help him heal and grow. This love is not shallow, it's real, raw, and life-changing. He may not always find the words to explain what he feels, but his silence often speaks volumes. In those quiet moments, he's thinking deeply, questioning if he's enough, hoping his love will be returned, and silently fighting to become better for you. When you understand this, when you respect the complexity of his inner world, you give him the safety his heart has always searched for. Love turns him into a quiet observer. He replays your conversations, studies your expressions, and analyzes every pause. He's trying to understand your heart as deeply as he hopes you understand his. This mental tug of war can be tiring, but it shows how much he truly values you. A man in love never fully rests. His mind constantly looks for ways to protect your bond, to nurture your connection, and to be the kind of man you can depend on. Yet through all this emotional chaos, love gives him clarity. He learns that real strength isn't about hiding what he feels, but about embracing it. Over time, his inner struggle begins to change from resistance to acceptance. He starts to see vulnerability not as weakness, but as strength. This slow transformation becomes the foundation of lasting love. Once he embraces it, he steps fully into his role as a man who loves without shame, hesitation, or fear. His love becomes both powerful and gentle, protective yet soft, grounded yet full of emotion. He stops believing that showing emotion makes him less of a man and realizes that true masculinity is about being real. His openness creates a bond built on trust, respect, and shared vulnerability. This kind of love doesn't just connect two people, it changes them. It turns ordinary relationships into deep, meaningful partnerships. At the heart of it all lies a powerful truth. When a man loves, he's fighting an invisible battle inside himself, trying to align his emotions with his identity. That struggle isn't weakness. It's proof of how much you matter to him. Your presence awakens something within him, a desire to connect, to be seen, to be accepted. When you meet that with patience and understanding, you become his comfort, his calm, and his courage. His silence doesn't mean he's distant. His calmness doesn't mean he doesn't care. Behind every quiet moment is a man feeling more than he can say. When he chooses to love you despite his fears, he's offering you the most precious thing he has, his open, unguarded heart. That's the real beauty of a man in love. It isn't about dramatic gestures or big promises. It's in the everyday choice to open up, to let you in, and to keep fighting for your place in his world no matter what. When a man truly loves, his focus shifts. It's no longer just about himself. His world expands to include you. Your happiness feels like his success, your pain like his own, and your dreams fuel his motivation. This isn't about duty or burden, it's about deep emotional connection. He discovers a side of himself he didn't know existed, one that's filled with empathy, care, and devotion. Love changes how he sees everything. You're no longer just a partner to him. You're a reflection of the life he wants to build, the peace he's been searching for, and the heart he's always hoped to find. This connection isn't shallow or ordinary. It runs deep within his mind and heart. Your presence soothes his worries, calms his restless thoughts, and grounds him in a way nothing else can. When he looks at you, he doesn't just see the woman standing before him. He sees a future full of hope and possibility, a life where he can be his best self, guided and supported by your love. This vision gives him strength when he doubts himself. It pulls him back from dark moments when the world feels heavy. Your love becomes his safe haven, a quiet place where he can rest from life's storms. Because of this, he becomes deeply protective, not in a way that limits you, but in a way that cherishes you. He wants to protect not just your body, but your spirit. He can sense when something is troubling you, even when you try to hide it. His instinct is to comfort you, to ease your pain, and remind you that you never have to face anything alone.